Yeah, we'll do it. You know how it is. We'll start down there for a couple minutes. So.
Are you staying in town for the holiday?
I am. Yeah, our daughter came home from Thanksgiving, or thing from San Diego for the week, and so. What about you guys?
Were you guys wedding planning?
Our oldest, yeah.
Is
and
that?
She came right up in Chico.
Oh.
Yeah.
When?
That's next October.
Oh,
so
well, that's plenty of time for the.
Yeah, the question I would know is where she's doing some outdoor, like a ranch kind of thing, and don't know what the status of that place is. So.
Okay, we got a
Jerry?
brand new mic mixer, so let's
Woo,
go
sweet.
check. We don't have garbage bag in here? We don't have waste paper basket?
No.
I don't know.
You want me to get rid of that thing?
Is it unsightly?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Do you want this? Or
No.
No, it is
Get rid of this.
absolutely unsightly. This is a class operation here, girl. What's
Come
wrong?
on.
Here, just take the
Stay on the
whole.
video.
The whole schmear.
Thank you.
Get a right here.
It's a class. So are you gonna add Olson to your name at some point?
Yeah, those are just the cards I
Yeah.
have.
Okay. Oh, I should go and let's see how we
Mine
go.
doesn't grow on trees.
I know, right? Except when you're doing firmware cars.
Well, I'm not. We've been lucky so far though. It's been good, really good, but still.
Jerry, what's going on, Jerry? Jerry, hello? Jerry, are you there? All right. Okay, Jerry, can you hear me now?
Test. I'm on two. Test. Testing.
Excellent. So you guys are staying? You guys are staying?
No, we're going to Quincy.
Oh.
Tomorrow. Just short. Rick was in Vermont for almost 4 weeks.
Wow.
3 weeks. Just got back Sunday night, super late. So.
What was he doing in Vermont?
Work. Yeah. Repair work. They needed help.
Hmm.
So horribly snowy and
Oh, yeah, I was gonna
physical
say it.
manual labor outside kind of stuff. It wasn't ideal. But he came home, and so he literally hasn't been home. So I said, let's go Thursday, come back Saturday. So we have a little bit of a weekend. Then we literally have 2 weekends, and then we're gone in Costa Rica.
How long have you been in Costa Rica?
Till Christmas Eve.
Nice.
We come back Christmas Eve.
Nice. And all inclusive, or what do you?
I don't like that.
Oh, is that right?
Rustic. We're going to an
Okay.
area that doesn't even have resorts.
Sweet.
So yeah, and I've been to this area before. It's just like small cabin, super chill, black sand beach, a little snorkeling, a little hiking, some jungle excursioning, a little relaxing.
Nice.
I hate all inclusives.
Is that right? I've only been to one in my life, so
Really?
that's a long time ago.
I mean, if you just want to get away for a couple days, lay on the beach, and just have people bring you Mai Tais, great. But if you really want to go to an area and chase snakes with, flashlights, you can't.
You can't do it, no inclusive. They don't want the snakes around there. Then they get rid of those.
So you know Craig Fetcher, right?
I know the name. I'm sure. I think I've seen him before.
He's a tax guy. He's my tax guy. I'm
Okay.
going there after this for my
Okay.
tax planning.
Do some tax planning. Good
Yeah.
call.
AKA, we're making money. I haven't paid anything to anyone.
Uh-oh.
What should we do about that? And then this afternoon I'm being interviewed by the Business Journal for a big spread for the Business Journal, which is really cool.
Right on.
Yeah. It's like
What's
press
the theme?
junket day.
Yeah. What's the theme of the Business Journal spread?
I guess it's just about my firm. I don't really know yet. We'll find out.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Have you been on Mark's show yet?
Next week.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Look at you. You're making all the rounds.
I know. Kind of silly. I really, we've been busy with work. So, in the slower time. Okay, well, now we can.
Yeah.
There was no traffic getting here, too. It was nice. I got here at 7:20.
Oh, that is nice.
Wait for
Plenty
it.
of time. Yeah. Oh, because you went to that one over there. I always go to the one in Arden.
Arden.
Yeah.
Oh, I want nothing to do with that.
Well, I get off on Arden Way, so it's just easy to go right there.
I get off on Exposition, went that way, and then
Boom.
right here I am.
Yeah, that one's got the drive-through, so that kind of slows things down. Did you drive through? Or did you
No,
walk in?
I went in.
Yeah, so it slows the walking. down.
Are we about ready to roll?
We are.
Oh, I don't have some. There we go.
So how long are you going to be in Costa Rica? A week? 10 days?
10 days.
How long does
14th.
it take to get down there?
Well, we're doing a red eye on the 14th, so it's really the 15th, and then travel day the 24th, so maybe 9 days of actual. It's like a 5-hour direct, but from Sacramento, I think we have 2 bumps, Texas, and then somewhere else maybe. Salt Lake, Texas, I don't know, it's American United, I forget, whatever.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm more worried about, okay, I better start planning now, because I don't check bags, so one carry-on,
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
We did Europe for 11 days with one carry-on.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Fine, you know?
It's totally doable.
Yeah, we're washing stuff in the sink on the last day, but that's
Yeah,
fine.
it works.
It's doable.
That's what we did when we went to Italy.
Mm-hmm.
Carry-ons. It's
You
so
don't
much
need
easier.
that. It's, yeah, you're going from place to place on cobblestone. Like, I'm not trying to carry around a bunch of
Exactly.
bags. It's
Plus,
really
hotel to hotel or villa, wherever you go, you don't want to. It's place to place. You don't want to be checking luggage and lugging stuff around. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Beyond the Numbers on Monday 105.5. I'm your host, Mark Bellows, of this weekly business talk show, Beyond the Numbers, where we invite in different business leaders and community leaders to talk about various business issues. And we're not just talking numbers, we're going beyond the numbers, getting into people's story, what they're doing, why they're doing it, into the why. I'm a tax principal with Clifton Larson Allen, a national CPA firm with offices throughout the U.S., including one in Roseville, which is where I reside. I'm on the tax side, and I work with manufacturers and distributors, real estate investors and developers, and contractors. The businesses, their owners, tax planning, tax strategy, that sort of thing. And we're all busy this time of year getting year-end planning done, which is what our guest is going to go do with her accountant after this today. So year-end planning to figure out what the impact is of the new tax law, what payments need to be made, if any, by year-end, etc. So if you want to get a hold of me, it's mark.bellows@claconnect.com, or you can call me at 916-784-7800. I had a call from a guy a couple weeks ago. We talked through some stuff from a point of view of his mother's estate, and so it was a good conversation. Always enjoy having those. Happy to talk to you. Give me a call. So today, my guest is the esteemed Katie McConnell Olson. Katie has been a guest on this before and was my co-host for about a year.
Good morning.
Good morning, Katie.
It's like old times.
I know, it's great having you back.
Likewise.
Yeah, welcome back. How are things?
Great.
Good.
Living the true entrepreneur life now.
Yes. So Katie and I worked together at one point in time with Clifton Larson Allen. And now Katie is doing a different venture. Why don't you tell us what it is you're doing now?
Yeah, so I run a company called Hire, H-I-R-E, Higher Education Consulting Group. And really what we're all about is removing barriers to talent and helping companies solve talent issues. Simply put, we educate folks how to hire better, hence the name. So we're doing a lot in the way of speaking, teaching, coming into companies and really educating their leaders around the hiring cycle and removing the obstacles to hiring.
Okay.
So for example, we're probably hearing a lot right now, we can't find good people,
Yeah.
right?
You're in a lot of industries, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So is that a side effect of the true root cause, or is that really the root cause? And my answer is it's usually a side effect. And it's a side effect of maybe a poor sourcing strategy or a poor pipelining strategy, or maybe you have no marketing and branding, so you're kind of behind the curve with that. What's really going on for you? Or I hear, well, people just aren't staying. Well, is that the side effect or the true root cause? Because usually it's the root cause, usually it's the side effect.
Yeah.
The root cause might be our interview process isn't very good, so we're hiring people that maybe don't fit.
Sure.
Maybe because we have the scarcity mindset, because there's other issues going on, or maybe we have a cultural issue happening, so people don't want to stay here. So we're all about helping educate companies on finding root causes and really addressing them holistically. So we do search work, however, that is a small piece of our practice.
Okay.
Most of our work is around education on the hiring cycle and consulting work.
Okay, so higher education consultant, you can check out the website, highereducationconsulting.com.
Yep.
You can also call Katie at 916-708-2010. So you've been at Hire for when did you start that?
July, August timeframe.
Okay.
So we're babies.
Yeah. About
Brand new,
half
first
the
year. Exactly.
So maybe tell us a little bit about your background, what you did before that, and how you got to this point.
Sure. Well, I'm from Quincy, a small town about an hour and a half northeast of Chico Paradise area.
Which is where you're going to?
I am for Thanksgiving. Folks are still there.
Any effect from the campfire?
Thank goodness, no. I mean, the canyon up there has been closed of Highway 70. However, I think we got the bulk of the smoke, and just with the ridge and the mountain range, they were luckily safe. However, I did go to high school with many people from Quincy who now live there, so it's been really devastating too.
Absolutely, yeah.
We actually organized a donation through my firm, Higher Education, as well as the building that I work in, which has a bunch of other entrepreneurs. We gathered first aid kits, clothes, backpacks for children, water bottles, gift cards. That all is going up for the Thanksgiving holiday, so we're hoping we can help make a little bit of a difference.
Yeah. There's been a lot of, the community really has done a lot of that around here.
Absolutely. I mean, that's one thing about Sacramento. We really band together. I think not only in times of crisis, but especially in times of crisis, to really show community. So we have a lot to be grateful for this year.
Agreed. So you grew up in Quincy?
Grew up in Quincy.
But you left the small town?
Dad retired now, but was a contractor. So grew up in the building industry, helping hand him different kinds of nails and rub ink oil on his work boots. So came from those roots.
Right.
Ended up in Sacramento by way of a franchise tax board, and then entering the CPA world, mostly auditing manufacturing and construction companies, so staying true to my roots.
Yes.
And then ultimately had migrated into the world of recruitment and married the two when I joined Galena, which is now Clifton Larson Allen, as the hiring practice leader at that time. And then of course by way of acquisition became Clifton Larson Allen, and then my next step was to branch out and launch a practice.
So, and I know I'm familiar of course with you working at CLA, so I know you built out a team there.
Yep.
And then you went on your own to hire, and so how is that different from going from being part of a firm to starting your own firm?
It's funny because
we've talked to a lot of entrepreneurs over the years. So had a chance on the show. You had a chance to ask this question to people many times.
And everybody's journey is a little bit different, as well as far as where they're at in the entrepreneurial process. I love hearing about everybody's sort of trials and tribulations, because I think the entrepreneur generally has this great idea, but the execution when things get difficult is where the breakdowns are. And I don't know that you always know what's going to be the difficult stuff.
Right.
I certainly didn't think what I thought was going to be difficult, didn't shake out to be what actually is. I thought it wasn't going to be that hard. I thought, well, I already ran a practice with the firm.
Right.
I already do my own billings. I go, for the most part, work on getting my own clients. So how bad could it be? The sales stuff hasn't been that hard. We've been fortunately super lucky to be in such abundance and have such a good network in this community, and then in other markets that we work in as well.
Well, lucky, but you've also built that.
Relentless.
Yeah, I mean, there's luck, yes.
One
but
part
you've done
luck, two part relentless.
I mean, you've done a lot of work over the years to build up that network.
Blood, sweat, and tears.
Absolutely.
Mostly just tears.
Yeah.
But yes, all of our business has been referral business, so we have not cold called one client, and I don't intend to. I hope to be, make $1 million practice out of this, and then say, hey, we built $1 million company without ever cold calling.
Right.
So,
Fantastic.
Look for that book.
All right.
But what's been hard, so the sales stuff I thought was going to be a lot harder. It wasn't. Honestly, the accounting was really hard. And it's funny because I felt like, well, I have a CPA license, so I sure as heck, better get this right. And I had an opportunity to outsource my accounting to an affiliate, and I said, no, I need to learn how to do this. And, I'd never done QuickBooks before on that side of the table. I said, I'm going to figure this out.
I've talked to so many clients that do the same thing.
Right? I know.
Yeah, why are you spending your time doing that?
If I'm also hiring people that do this, I want to understand the job, and I want to walk in those shoes.
Which is fair.
And so, give me 6 months to figure this out, and I will always do billing and collections, but beyond that, maybe I will move towards outsourcing it. So, huge plug for Mark and all the work that they do with clients on the tax and accounting side.
Okay, we got to take a break. We're going to commercial. When we get back, we'll continue the conversation. Talking today with Katie McConnell Olson of Higher Education Consulting. We'll be right back.
from the devil. It's so hot, I still can't even drink it. It's like, oh my gosh, I just wanted some green tea this
You
morning.
add some cold water.
And this is like, my bladder isn't even this large, so
Yeah, it's a lot of
it's intense.
yeah, a lot of tea. I always get in that cold water in my Americanos. I can't drink it for like an hour. So,
I can understand. It works out because Craig's office is on American River Drive, so it's literally, I think, right around the corner from
oh,
me.
perfect. What time do you meet with him?
9:30. We'll be done at 10 after 9.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever I roll over there. If he's not ready, he'd stuff me in a room and I can take care of a few things.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought, oh, we're just, it kind of got slow last week, which was great. So Lauren got married and had her honeymoon, so kind of wound. She was in kind of a slow time while she was, doing that. So I was carrying both of our workload, which was crazy. Then she came back, okay, let's ramp you back up. Okay, it's kind of slow, it's the holidays. Then what day is it? Wednesday?
Mm-hmm.
So Monday, like everything came in again. Like, oh, I really want to just enjoy being slow, focus on some strategy, do a little marketing. And then I got all busy. So I have tons of work to do.
And we're back. You are listening to Beyond the Numbers, a weekly business talk show based in Sacramento here. I'm your host, Mark Bellows. I'm a tax principal with Clifton Larson Allen, a regional CPA, or national CPA firm with offices throughout the U.S., including one in Roseville, where I'm at. I'm on the tax side, and so we're all busy finishing up with our clients, looking at strategy for year end. A lot of opportunity to make changes as a result of the tax law. So we're working with our clients on that. So Katie, today my guest, Katie McConnell Olson, founder and president of Higher Education Consulting. And Katie started the company back in the summertime, July, August. And so you were telling us right before the break that you decided you're going to want to learn how to do your own QuickBooks.
Yes, so that the accounting was an unexpected challenge. And being a prideful CPA, I said, I can figure this out. Well, I'm going to my tax guy after this to have him help me iron everything out, straighten out, okay, what am I doing? Who do I pay?
Right, yeah, that's good.
So I wanted to address the extra name, by the way, because
Yes,
that's new.
yes,
I
thank
did
you.
get married in August.
Congratulations.
So tacked on a little extra
Yes.
name onto the end.
Yes, so
There.
married in August, which is August?
August 3rd.
Yep,
Yep.
Up in Tahoe.
Yeah,
And then the honeymoon is actually coming up in a couple weeks.
it is.
Yeah. So
Had to spread it out. Life of a new business, the best of intentions, right? But thought, okay, well, we got married in August, we did our reception in September, and we're doing our honeymoon in December. So we kind of spread it all out,
Yeah.
which I thought, okay, this is going to be great because we'll just keep the party going for a whole 6
Yeah,
months.
sure.
But I'll be honest, I wouldn't recommend it because it just prolongs the.
Be a lot better to have
worth it.
everything grouped
Yeah,
together.
if we just got it all over with at the same time. And I haven't been on a vacation in almost 2 years, so I'm really excited to take
Really?
this vacation.
So one of your yoga retreats was 2 years ago?
Longer. The
Wow.
last vacation I went on, we went to Italy in
Oh.
May 2017.
Wow.
So it's been a good long while.
Yeah, so you're due for your
Yes,
honeymoon.
it's been a lot of work, relentless work, but having so much fun. The time just flies by. September was like a time warp. October was like a time warp.
Right, yeah,
I don't know what
yeah.
happened to the fall, but we've just been in such a good flow, looking for opportunity, helping clients grow, which is just phenomenal.
So higher education, you opened the doors August 1.
Mm-hmm.
So how many employees did you start with besides yourself?
2.
Two.
And a minority business partner.
Okay. So you've got a business partner, yourself, and so you guys started the ground running. So how did that, had you, getting started, did people know, potential clients or future clients or existing clients, did they know that you were going on your own?
So no, I was very careful about not sharing any information,
Right.
Respecting the lines in the sand of the prior relationship with the firm, of course, Clifton Larson Allen, who we're still very friendly with. I know I ran into you in the coffee shop on a
Yes,
Monday right by
yes.
the office visiting with friends, and we still share clients. We work on mutual deals together, try to send business back and forth. So wanted to be very careful of that relationship and
Sure.
respectful of that. And so, I let folks know that I was moving on. I think they put 2 and 2 together because I had heard many people say for a while, hey, when are you gonna start your own thing? And so it wasn't a big shock But we were able to quickly get the word out. My minority partner, Mark Haney, is very dialed in with the entrepreneur community.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that was, we were able to leverage his network as well to get the word out to many people.
So had you been talking with Mark for a while about going into business?
So what's funny is that was not the plan.
Okay.
As it usually is, no one gets into recruiting on purpose. Usually you start a business, kind of flop into that too. Mark was my client. So, taking it way back, Mark's, the president of the accounting operation over there's daughter, actually, I had hired Evelina as a tax staff. I think she probably worked for you in the Roseville office. And that's originally how I met Mark. And then he became a mentor, and then they became a client, and I started helping them staff out their accounting group as they continued to grow. They do kind of outsource bookkeeping stuff.
Right.
And then, that relationship just continued, and I was springboarding with him about, if I were to make an exit, what would I do, and how would that look, and what about this, and what about this, and, it kind of evolved over time into, that sounds like something great, and, what they're all about is helping entrepreneurs take care of all the junk that they don't want to do so they can really focus on growing their business. So they offer media solutions, outsource bookkeeping, social media strategy and things like that. And so having me in the building kind of down the hallway to say, we can also help you with all of your hiring challenges in the same roof just seemed like kind of sort of a natural fit for me to kind of move into the neighborhood. So our office is in Rockland.
Okay.
We're kind of right across from the CalFit over by the Audi dealership over there.
Oh, okay.
The CalFit I have never been in. Sadly. Never been in there.
We have kids, and our kids have played indoor soccer over the years, and so we've been there many times for indoor soccer games. I've gone and worked out there a couple times for different reasons, but generally it's for indoor soccer.
It's really pathetic that I could throw a rock and hit it, and I keep saying they have Zumba, that'd be fun in theory, but I'm not there that often. We work on site at clients a lot, and on the outsourced recruitment work, where essentially we're acting as their in-house recruiter. Maybe they don't have an in-house recruiter, and we're kind of taking care of that for them. We're on site at the client. Maybe we're leading office tours, or we're helping database manage, or leading interviews. So we're not there.
Right.
And then Lauren is actually based out of our Folsom office, which we rent a suite now off of Iron Point in Folsom. So it's kind of nice that we have both locations for travel. It makes it easier for our Folsom clients.
Is there a difference between what you and Lauren focus on?
So Lauren is generally recruitment, and she's a tremendous recruiter. So a lot of sourcing and screening efforts. I am really mostly dedicated to consulting, except for a couple of special cases.
So had it been a goal of yours to someday have your own company?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, this was my third startup, so I had been down that road before. Obviously, those did not stay started. Lessons learned, but it was always something that I wanted to do. And frankly, mostly for the ability to make an impact. Mm-hmm. Without, it's funny, I was sharing with a mentor yesterday, the biggest shift for me has been that there's nobody telling me no anymore, or that I can't, and that's become me, and you become your greatest limiter, because when you get in trouble, when you fail, it's not because you're disappointing somebody else, it's because you let yourself down, or you didn't make the impact that you thought. But there's so much gratitude in the learning experience that comes with that. Failure doesn't really feel like failure anymore, which is really neat.
Yeah, that is neat.
Yeah. So those were kind of, I think, the biggest shifts. As well as the ability to make impact. We've done a couple webinar series. I was just closing keynote speaker for Association of General Contractors conference last month, which was such a tremendous opportunity. Thank you to them for kind of taking a chance on me, because we barely had our company incorporated when we inked that deal. So those opportunities have been just amazing.
And so what was the focus of the speech?
The speech was called Building Your Hiring Blueprint, so kind of a play on the building industry. What was it? Build your hiring blueprint, gain a competitive edge, something to that effect. Okay. Really a brief introduction to what are the stages of the hiring cycle, what are some best practices. I was overturning some common complaints that I hear. We can't attract people, or we need millennials to work here. Some of these sort of nonsense things that I hear all the time, and just gathering everybody into one room and addressing it head on all at once.
Right, and so that was, again, Association of General Contractors.
Yep.
And good size audience?
About 3,000 people.
Wow.
So I will say, being
Great
closing
audience.
keynote was probably a really bad idea on my part because number one, I had the entire week to fret about it. So it was Wednesday through Saturday, and I
Yeah.
closed out the actual business part of the conference on Friday afternoon. So I had, several days to just be nervous, but also to just make best friends with everybody at the conference beforehand. So I knew half their names by the time I got
Right,
there.
yeah.
But also maybe had a little bit too much fun on Thursday night with those contractors.
What time was your Friday speech?
Oh my gosh! Thank goodness it was right after lunch, so I had
Yeah,
time to
little
just
time to-
rehydrate and
Yeah.
eat some bread.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, it was one of those nights. So in hindsight,
Now, is this a speech you've given before?
nope, that was a new talk.
And how long is the talk?
An hour.
Okay, and you like doing those.
I love
You're good at
speaking.
those. You do it a lot.
And that's
You're
part of the aim of
well-regarded.
higher education. It's funny, I've gotten some, and I don't know if we take callers into the show anymore, but curious what your thoughts are. I've gotten some mixed reviews. Some people love it, some people think it's totally stupid.
What?
The name.
The name.
Of higher education. Some people say, well, it implies that you work for colleges. I get that,
Yeah.
If you have a better idea, please email me and let me know. I'm open to that. It's the best we've got right now, but it really emulates what we're doing, which is educating people how to hire, and a lot of that is teaching and speaking engagements.
Yeah.
So we're gonna stick with it for now.
There you go. Higher education and consulting. Or higher education consulting.
Higher Education Consulting Group.
Okay, higher education consulting group. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you can the email or the website is highereducationconsulting.com, and hire is HIRE.
Yep.
So higher education consulting. Yeah, when I first heard the name, I thought something about in the education space.
Exactly.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing. I get it. At the same time, like I said, it's sort of the best we've got. We're tied to it for this point in time, and it
Yeah.
does emulate. At a later date, we may do a DBA and make this the teaching speaking wing, and then the other side
Right.
consulting. I don't really know yet.
We've got business cards that say it. We've got a
Exactly.
website. So
We're so
you're tied
official.
in.
We have business cards on a website.
Yeah, so.
And the blue, which is funny, so I work mostly in the construction space. I would say 90% of our clients, we have a few outliers, but for the most part, they're in the trades, so manufacturing and construction,
Okay.
have pointed out that the logo color is Makita blue.
So they all
So
recognize the
exactly,
Makita.
and our office and our suite has a conference room table that I painted blue, and it is literally Makita blue.
It's Makita blue
So
as
all
well.
of my contractors,
They recognize
that's kind
the
of
color.
funny. Yeah. They're like, oh, you picked Makita blue. Well, that was a complete accident, actually.
Right. So you started with a couple employees.
Yeah.
And now are you growing that, or you have plans to grow that, or what do you think?
I do have plans to grow that. We actually downsized a little bit, so that was, a necessary learning experience for everybody, which I think is, like I said, gratitude in learning experiences. I don't want to call it a failure because I think if you don't try, then you just don't know.
Agreed.
But not everything that you try ends up being great.
So what changed
What changed?
about that? About the number of employees and the learn? What was the learning?
It decreased,
experience?
Mark.
Yeah. Okay, so it went
That's
down.
what changed.
What was
It went
the,
down
what
by
was
one.
the what was the learning experience?
Value alignment, which I think was a good tumble for me to take early because I'm in the business of hiring, right? And so
And educating people on
how to do
how
it
to
right.
hire,
And
yeah.
here I made a malalignment, and really, on both sides, we thought it was going to be a better alignment, and there was really just a value difference, I think, in what we wanted and what our mutual visions were. And especially with a startup or a small business, the vision of the CEO with the employees is so important.
It's huge.
It's so important at
Do you-
every step of the game.
Sorry, do you feel like you didn't have that finely tuned, or was it not communicated well, or was it you thought the other person understood? What do you think?
All of the above.
Okay.
I mean, I think we had our core values. We did all the right things. I think we didn't define the role very clearly, which is such a cardinal sin that I would never let a client make. And I kind of had this sort of, well, we'll figure it out and see where the market goes sort of approach. And, we also do a lot in the way of personality profiling and working with clients on different tools to look at behavioral indexes. We did that, and I thought, well, the fact that this person is so strikingly different from me is probably good because there'll be a good balance for me, right? Like my husband, he's so different than me, but he kind of balances me.
Yeah.
However, I've changed my
It's a
tune.
different relationship that was you and
And
your husband
especially in
and
a
your
startup,
employee.
if you're a 50-person company, hire for your weaknesses. But if you're a 3-person company, a 4-person company, hire for your complementary strengths because you all have to be marching in the same direction. So somebody that is a B-type personality that's very laissez-faire, that is a good balance to you, if that's your controller and you are just a maniac of a CEO in a 50-person company, that's gonna work.
Yeah.
If that's
So
your,
that's
you know,
exactly.
number 2 or number 3 in a 4-person company, you're going to completely want to rip your hair out. And so that just wasn't, you know. Oh.
Yep, we're going to commercial break. We're talking with Katie McConnell Olson of Higher Education Consulting Group. You listen to Beyond the Numbers. We'll be right back.
So we have 2 more.
What a great learning experience for you, though, because now you've got that to share with everybody that you work with.
Yeah.
For the people, because
I mean, I'm not sharing that
people are gonna-
publicly.
Well,
Like,
yeah,
well,
I
let
mean,
me tell you about how
of course,
I
people are going to
messed
come
up.
to you and say, "Well, I think it's really good to have someone
Of
who's
course.
different than me," and you can say, "Well."
I think I can say, well, it depends, you know. I don't know that it's always appropriate to go right to personal experience. Sometimes it builds trust,
That's fair.
sometimes it
That's fair.
doesn't.
Yeah, true statement.
I was just interviewing social workers, which I have this not-for-profit client now, which is super cool because it's all about giving back and helping. Not that I don't love construction, but it's kind of nice to mix it up a little bit.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so I'm helping interview and I'm learning about social work, which is so new for me, you know? And
Because that's probably, I don't want to generalize, but what I've experienced is I would think that might be a different type of mindset of worker in social work than another.
100%. Because construction is all about get here early, work until there's dirt under your nails, dig the ditch, when that's done, dig a new one, you know, grit. And this is not. This is all about touch and tact and the touchy-feelies and support. And you might not produce anything all day except for just be there, you know, in a crisis. And so that has been just really interesting from a filling my cup perspective. But the gal that we just hired has been through the system, and she has, you know, adopted a sister's children and like. And so I had spent a lot of time asking her questions about, well, when is it appropriate to share personal experiences and when isn't it? Because you can't always just air out your dirty laundry with people, you know, and sometimes it builds trust and sometimes it doesn't. Same story, I guess. But yeah, it was disappointing, but you know, it needed to happen, and I think it altered the direction of the company in a positive way.
Well, good.
So.
Learning experiences. They're
Yes,
crucial.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I think we did the personality profile after the fact, and we did this after the fact. And you live and you learn. Sometimes also,
Hopefully you learn.
I think you take a leap of faith when someone has a really solid resume and a really good background, because you think, well, what could go wrong? You know, and just laying out that framework and not letting the tail wag the dog is, I know better, but, you know, I'm a hopeless romantic anyway.
Is that what Rick says?
No, hopeless maybe.
So it was a year ago that he had back surgery, right?
Yeah, October
Is
23rd.
his back better? Did that help?
Yeah, I mean, it's sore, but it's okay.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, he couldn't even walk before, so
I remember you saying that. That's horrible.
it was really bad. And the recovery was a nightmare, so. Yeah.
But he just spent 4 weeks in Vermont. So
Unlimited overtime, worked 7 days a week, 14 hours a day.
what's he gonna do when you're out of state, right? I mean, that's a lot of times that's just work.
This is your commercial. I think this is your commercial.
It's the same one. And we're back. You're listening Beyond the Numbers on the road again,
I was
Jerry.
just gonna say, I feel like it's my life story right now. Oh, here we go. Oh, here we go.
Well,
Get
the
in
day
the car.
before Thanksgiving, so it's going to be a big travel, a huge
Go
travel
visit
day,
this
of course.
client.
Yes.
Go make that call. Go to that mixer. On the road again.
Well, we're talking today with Katie McConnell Olson,
Morning.
the founder and president of Higher Education Consulting Group. And again, their website, higher, highereducationconsulting.com, and you can get a hold of Katie at 916-708-2010. It's a cool enough to drink finally?
Finally.
Jeez.
Gosh, I get this Starbucks straight out of Hades.
Yeah.
This water was so hot. It took 2 hours.
So we were talking before the break about some lesson learned on your part about hiring.
Yep.
Yep. And so what other lessons have you been learning along the way? And to refresh those who didn't hear, Katie started up higher education consulting 6 months ago, roughly.
Yep.
August 1 opened the doors. August 3rd got married. So first part of August was a little busy time for
Yeah,
her.
a little busy.
Yeah. So what else have you learned?
You know, so as I mentioned earlier before the break, I thought, well, this can't be that difficult because I already do all of this stuff. And it's all the little things that you don't realize you need. So for me, I think that was the biggest shift. You know, cash flow, number one issue that most small businesses face.
Yes.
So revenue looks great, but you know, we're broke because we haven't collected.
Yeah.
So learn to kind of turn the knobs on how we approach billings. Some of our engagements are upfront retainer, you know, hourly versus upfront retainer every month. So that kind of smooth things out.
Did you change that going in from the beginning? Was it that way, or did
It
you
was
make that
from
change?
the beginning, but you know, you gotta go get clients.
Of course. Yeah.
And so, you know, for the first couple months, and then you have startup expenses. You know,
Sure.
I learned to program. You know, and I did the website, I did the graphics, I designed the cards, I did everything kind of scrappy style, with tremendous help from an amazing network of people that I could just springboard ideas off of, my lawyer friends, and you know, I had some help on the law side and some professional accounting help. Beyond that, did it sort of grassroots style. So all of that stuff, those are just sort of things you just have to do and you just figure it out. You know, and we live in an amazing community where it's easy to find people if you're well networked, or there's always YouTube, right? If all else fails, then you can Google the YouTubes, and it's going to teach you, you know, something.
Yes.
So those challenges weren't as bad. Cash flow, you know, I think we all struggle with that here and there. So that's definitely something that just I needed to get my arms around, and sometimes I think it takes a couple months for that to settle down. Time management, it sounds crazy because, well, you know, I'm not bound to the 9 to 5, and when I first started, our TIs in the building were behind, of course. You know, nothing ever goes as planned. And so I had to work out of the house when I wasn't at clients, which I hated. You know, there's no separation. It's like home is work, and it's all the time, and I could work until 10 or 11 at night. So I feel like I was just like helium, and I just took up all the space you gave me and expanded it and just worked constantly. And so that was a tough one, and, you know, had a little bit of an intervention from some loved ones that said, hey, you can't keep this pace, and, you know, the importance of self-care and just taking a time out. And now I just maintain a rolling to-do list, and it's not all done, but that's okay. So kind of making peace with that was a personal struggle.
Is that right?
I think there's so much opportunity. Anybody that says Sacramento especially is boring just, you know, doesn't get out much, because there is so much to do.
Yeah.
You know, you can quadruple book yourself, and you have to learn to say no. At least I have to, because I would say yes to everything and then be completely overcommitted constantly. And I just want to just suck the marrow out of life and take advantage of every opportunity, especially when it comes to being able to help companies grow, which is really what we're all about.
So you've been involved a lot in the Sacramento community, of course, for years. And
Absolutely.
lots of you're very connected, very networked, and so you're involved in panels and discussions, that sort of thing. And have you continued doing that in Sacramento?
100%. I think it's gotten, I was going to say it's gotten worse. It's gotten more busy, and I've gotten more involved, especially with women type organizations, which are near and dear to my heart, being from finance and construction to industries that are historically a little behind the curve of progression, and
Sure.
also very male dominated. So actually just recently published an article.
So it ties you into this article.
Yeah, about gender bias,
So-
which you can find on LinkedIn.
Yeah, it's called "Admit It, You're a Little Gender Biased," and then in quotes, "and so am I," published on the 18th by Katie. And so the opening part is kind of interesting too. So maybe walk us through what you did that led you to this.
Well, I don't want to spoil everything, but essentially I'm part of a women in construction group. We get together once a month and talk about stuff. You know, how can we support each other? It's really not a rah-rah, cry on my shoulder kind of thing. It's a very sort of just what's going on. Let's just get together in a non-work environment and just get to know each other.
And CLA is involved in women in manufacturing nationwide, and I know that I've heard a lot of discussions about that, and I think that group is similar. It's not about crying on the shoulders. It's
No,
about,
absolutely not. And it's not about let's go make some signs and go march around and tell people how empowered we are. It's really just about friendship and relationship and just having a place to go, you know, and it's so neat to watch these organizations grow. You know, we started this, I think, February, and we had maybe 14 people, and now the mailing list is, you know, 70, 80 strong. And no, not everybody comes, maybe we get 25. However, it's so neat to see that community grow, because you go, you know, these women are out there, and with the right amount of lead time to shift around obligations, they can make these commitments, and we can, you know, be a part of the community.
So you found out as a result of the situation that you described in your article that you have some gender bias, unbeknownst to you or unacknowledged by you or whatever. I
do. I totally put my foot in my mouth, and it kind of made me go, huh, really? Like, I thought that if I of all people, you know, I should know better. And so I took to the Googles, as we often do.
Yes.
And I Googled successful CEO, Google image. And the entire first page of images were men, including a little boy
in a suit,
dressed up in a suit. And I thought, okay, I love that messaging of, hey, children can grow up to do these things. However, I will say, tell your kids to go into the trades. That's where the jobs are. That's where this huge gap in employment is going to be.
Yeah.
We're seeing a 20% gap right now in the market, and that's only going to get stronger as the baby boomers retire, right?
Yep.
I mean, I don't know about you, Mark. Did you tell your children growing up, go to college, go to college, go to college?
Of course, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Well, don't. Tell them to tell their kids, don't go to college. Learn a trade,
well,
right?
and it's not the only path. It's not. And the problem is, I've seen is that for years we were telling everyone that is the path. The path to success is go get a 4-year degree at least. And you're right, there are a lot of initiatives out there. The Sac Valley Manufacturing Initiative is one of them. For instance, we've had them on the show, and they're really working with community colleges, high schools around here to build up the wood shop, metal shop, to get the kids involved, working on computers and in the trades, training the trades, so they don't have to go from high school to college and look for a job in some field that they're not interested in. If they're interested in working with their hands and doing a certain thing,
right,
pursue it.
And there's good money in it.
Absolutely.
Secondary to my women in underserved industries is my passion for getting people into the trades. I came from a small town where most of the population was not college educated, dual income families working in the trades. My dad was a tradesman as a contractor, and there's good money in this industry, especially with the way that construction and manufacturing is to be had. Journeyman electrician starting salary is $85,000 a year.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's great,
yeah.
And I think when I was going to high school, the message was go get a degree in computer programming because everyone was hiring in Silicon Valley, and programmers were this sexy, rare thing.
Right.
Now programmers are freelancers. Go to any coffee shop in Sacramento and you'll see someone with skinny jeans and a angry haircut programming, right? Freelancing. But where are all the tradespeople?
Yeah.
And this gap is just going to increase with the changes in the market and the retirements and the shift in education.
Agreed. So you do the stuff. You're involved in the Sacramento community and out and about in a lot of activities. Are you in other markets as well?
Yep, we are very well entrenched in the Salt Lake City market as well. And we're getting into the LA market right now, so a couple of new opportunities and partnerships. And then, of course, the Bay Area, which kind of goes hand in hand with Sacramento. A lot of our clients have a presence in both the Bay and Sacramento, where they have field offices, all the way down to Santa Cruz, Santa Barbara, all the way up the North Bay and into Eureka, for example. We have one client that has 12 locations and all up and down the coast.
So where in LA?
The entire greater LA area, but really Glendale, and I believe it's called the Valley.
Okay. So have you been going down there? Is that part of your role? Is that
not yet.
Or,
Thank goodness. I haven't had to yet, but I will.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Of course.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, you can plenty of airports to fly in and out of there. It's a quick flight.
Exactly.
So that's the good news about that.
We will. LA market was kind of we're not going to go after it, but if it happens naturally, then that's where we'll migrate. And the job market is very strong in Salt Lake right now. It's very strong in Sacramento.
Mm-hmm.
It's very strong in the Bay, of course, and we lag that market by about 9 months usually.
Yeah.
And then of course the Seattle market is also very strong. However, right now we're not practicing in that market.
Yet.
We will, but
yeah.
We had an opportunity to take a bid in Colorado. We did not get that bid. However, we thought, well, that would just be a really amazing opportunity to.
Which part of Colorado?
Aspen.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Great. That would be great.
So yeah, we don't have a geographical bounds for what we do, which is great. Sometimes we just have to learn the market, but because of the nature of the work, we don't maintain a database because we're not selling candidates. We're really working for the company doing holistic recruiting.
Right.
And hiring consulting, we can learn the business and the market.
So, and you mentioned the AGC conference of Europe.
Association of General Contractors.
Yeah,
Yep.
And so you're doing other things with AGC?
Oh yeah, very involved with them.
And other, so the one you went to, was a national conference or West Coast or what
That
was
was a West Coast region. So they
Okay.
break it out into different groups. I
Yeah,
think we're
yeah.
Delta Sierra region.
Okay. All right, we're going to take a break. When we get back, we'll continue the conversation. We're talking with Katie McConnell Olson of Higher Education Consulting Group. Listen to Beyond the Numbers.
Is this our last segment, or do we have one more?
Last one.
We have this last one.
Yep, this
Okay.
is it. So we can go into these things.
What are they?
Your Safe May workshop?
Video.
Video?
Skip that. No
Okay,
worries.
whatever.
Oh, video. I can talk about that.
Yeah. And then you want to talk a little bit about the entrepreneurial growth, MD growth, and we kind of talk a little bit about the need for people.
Who's your SBMI contact with Roland?
Roland introduced it, but I think the executive director is, he was on the
Dean?
show. Yeah, Dean Peckham? Dean Peckham. Yep. So I think he's like the executive director now, or was when he was on the show a few months ago.
Have you had traction with them?
I have not. I haven't really pursued it. I worked with them a little bit. I moderated a panel right before SVMA got formed with the guys from Chico. They're talking about what they did up there. And
Yeah.
so from that led to, that was last year, that led to SVMI, but I haven't really involved. I also want to get involved with Tracy at Powering Lines.
Right?
Yeah.
They're doing, Haney's are involved with them too.
Is that right?
I've just kind of on my radar, but for later. Because I want to move up the supply chain out of construction too. And up the manufacturing.
And we're back to listen to Beyond the Numbers on 91.5 FM, part of the Wall Street Business Network. Mark Bellows, your host here of this weekly business talk show. I'm a CPA tax guy with Clifton Larson Allen, a national firm with offices throughout the U.S., including one in Roseville, which is where I work. I've got manufacturing and distribution clients, real estate investors and developers, contractors, which is Katie and I, his tie in some ways. And so
Many ways.
in many ways, yeah. And excuse me, if you want to get a hold of me, you have questions, again, this is tax planning time, you're in tax planning, strategy, that sort of thing. Because there are still things you can do to round out 2018. You can get a hold of me at mark.bellows@claconnect.com, and my number is 916-784-7800. And so we're talking with Katie McConnell Olson here with Higher Education Consulting Group. And so you, more than just executive search or more than just recruiting, you actually go in and work with a lot of companies to educate them.
Yep, we are not executive search.
Okay. I think that's what I tagged
Oh,
LinkedIn for
that's
you.
That's okay. It's a common misconception.
Right. So
I'm excited. We have this video coming out. I'm hoping it launches next Friday that really explains what is hiring consulting, because it's sort of this odd thing that really didn't exist in this market. There is a company in LA market that does kind of what we do. But up here, we're kind of unique, and so there's this misunderstanding, oh, well, you're a headhunter. But actually, no, we don't have the same billing model, we don't charge you the same way, we don't act in that capacity, and we don't maintain a candidate database that we will push candidates to you.
So you're not sending out 1,000 LinkedIn requests a day trying to build your
I
candidate
feel
database?
like it's kind of presumptuous for me to not know your business at all and sling a resume over and say, hey, this person could be a great fit for you. Like, who are you as a business owner? Who are you to tell me that you don't even know my business,
Well, and I think, again, I think that is like you said, it's a unique approach, because I as a principal and with the firm, I get those unsolicited offers all the time. Hey, we got a great candidate for you.
Right.
Why? Because the person had worked at a CPA firm at one point? I mean,
Right.
What makes that
You don't even know what I need.
Yeah.
So we don't have any of that approach. So no, we're not a headhunter. Do we help companies with searches? Yeah, but are we an executive search firm? No. So it's a little confusing. So we have this video coming out that I'm super excited about. It'll hit our website, and I'll do a big social media campaign around it. So if anybody's listening and they're interested in hearing about it or seeing the video, shoot me a line and I'll make sure you get it. Really short little ditty that talks about common hiring complaints, what we do, how we help clients.
Who's doing the video?
Actually, Haney Biz Marketing
Okay,
or Haney
okay.
Biz Media. So in the building that I reside in, where we have office space, they also have a media studio, so they can do video production. So I do a lot of public speaking, right? I've never used a teleprompter before. I've
Oh,
always...
did you have the teleprompter for
Yeah,
this?
so that I wrote the script, and like I said, it's really short. It's probably 30-second video, but you know, it takes 2 hours to film your
Of
50
course,
times,
yes.
screw it up over and over.
Yep, yep.
So that was new for me. I always just talk off the cuff, or I speak from the heart, or I'm looking at my, you know, pictorials, and
Right.
I'm walking you through a graphic with all of my speaking. So I've never had a teleprompter. So that was the hardest part. It was going too fast, and then it was going too slow, and then I felt like, you know, and it was all out of pace. So that was what we really had to dial it in, and okay, too animated, okay, not animated enough, you know, and we had fun with it. So I'm excited to see what the finished product looks like.
Well, that's exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing it as well, your 30-second video.
Exactly,
Nice.
and it's really fun. I'm excited because this was really an opportunity for me to pilot video production. I've never made videos before. I've had my talks, you know, professionally produced, but I've never sort of been behind the scenes helping produce it. And it's an awesome opportunity. Hey, if they do a good job, if I like the content, I have clients that could use this. We could use it for safety videos, for onboarding videos. We could do little snippets between hire and, you know, for a manufacturing client, we could make a video to help attract talent. Here's an inside look at our product. Here's what our assembly line looks like. Here's what it looks like to pick and sort. You know, how cool is this, right?
Yeah.
So that you're really there experiencing, touching, feeling the product from your computer screen, and then you want to talk to that employer because you kind of get, or you don't, and we can weed them out before you use man hours to invest in them. So super cool opportunity to sort of leverage media to help clients.
Good, good. Eventually you'll have a YouTube channel. You can put it on YouTube. And
Yeah, I don't know about that. I may just leave it to the professionals.
Okay. So we got a little bit of time. Maybe walk us through, let's say, first off, a couple of things. One, someone wants to call and use your services. So what would be their thinking as to why they would first call you? And then maybe kind of talk through how you kind of initially start working with someone, or figure out whether you're going to work with them, et cetera. So.
Yeah. So usually we get a client introduction by way of complaint.
Okay.
Right? So it's generally somebody complaining to somebody about something that's broken. We can't find people. We're not hiring fast enough. It's taking too long. There's too many people involved in the process, so we can't make a decision. We're losing offers. You know, we gave out 15 offers last month and only 4 people took an offer. So that's usually what, that tells us, okay, that there's something wrong. The faucet's leaking, right? What's the problem? And so typically that's when we get an introduction and we insert ourselves by just asking a lot of questions. Well, tell me about what's going on. Why do you think that's happening?
Who do you ask them of? Who do you meet with?
Generally we work with the frontline hiring manager / CEO. So most of the time it's the CEO, president. Sometimes it's going to be COO, CFO, executive suite, depending on company size. Once in a blue moon, HR may be involved, but generally it's right to the company owner.
And have you had pushback against that? Have you had them say, "Oh, deal with our HR manager" or something like that?
You know,
and if you
sometimes,
did, what would you think about
however, that? I mean, this is a kind of tricky one. I'm going to try to dance around this like a politician here.
We can go to the next question if you
a
want.
lot of times human resources folks look at us as a threat,
okay.
and you know, we're not. We're there to really help. And I will say for HR folks, they really get a raw deal because it's a lot. You know, they're looking at employee engagement, they're looking at keeping the CEO out of jail, you know, and especially in the construction industry and manufacturing, some of the things that, you know, happen are not necessarily compliant. And, you know, they're looking at the benefits administration, and they're dealing with payroll a lot of times. And then now, here's another hat to put on the pile, recruitment.
Yeah.
You know, and I do have a bias that I feel like recruiting is a completely separate job from compliance HR. So really, our job is to help HR do their job better and make their life easier. For the folks that see that, we work very seamlessly for HR. For the folks that don't, we're sometimes perceived as, well, they're going to come in and point out my weaknesses and show everybody that I'm not good at recruiting. Well, look, we already know that you're not very good at recruiting. That's why we're here. It's totally okay. We're here to try to help make you better at recruiting. And in fact, we can work with you to kind of coach you on using the tools you have to do this more effectively and make your life easier.
So when you get introduced and you go have your first meeting with the CEO,
yep.
What do you do from there?
It's like your intake, a lot of questions, not a lot of talking. Tell me what's going wrong. Tell me as you see it where the pain points are. What's going right? What do you think is working that doesn't need to be addressed? And then really take a deep dive from there into, you know, spitballing, well, what kind of resources do you have? What kind of money are you throwing at this? Some clients throw a lot of money at it, but it's not effective.
Mm-hmm.
Some have chosen to just ignore the problem entirely and hope things work out for the best, right?
Yeah.
Talk about being a hopeless romantic. And so really uncovering, well, what tools do you have to work with? What kind of staff do you have in-house to make this effective. Because if the company really has nobody, we're looking at more of an outsourced strategy where we're actually maybe going to be acting in that capacity. If the company has resources, then maybe we're more of a coach to work with the team and help them, you know, maybe we're helping existing staff. We have a client right now, they've got the resources to do effective phone screening, they're just not doing it because they don't know how. So we're teaching them how.
Okay.
You know, and then the goal is that we wean down the hours and set them on their way, and then we're available, you know, on an as-needed basis to run things by and to work on more strategic initiatives.
And what's your pricing model?
So it depends. Our pricing
Okay.
model can either be hourly consulting, which on the search side is always time and materials. We don't run contingent percentage. It can be a monthly retainer up front, or it can be for an assessment. It's a two-part billing, half up front, half on completion. And it's usually about 30 to 45 day cycle for that.
Okay. And so you mentioned that you, after they potentially met with you and hired someone or got through that process, they continue to consult with you.
Absolutely. So we're all about customization and flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
Our aim is to help the company do their job better and to grow. So whatever model that fits into that works best for their structure, that also, you know, is decent model for us, we're open to figuring that out together.
Okay. And so you've got a number of clients that you continue to work with, continue to hire additional positions, help them hire for additional positions. Do you also go in and help them, like, kind of maybe restructure their process?
100%.
Okay.
So a lot of the work that we're doing is not,
Excuse me.
we're not going out and looking for people, we're fixing your process. And, you know, now is a great time for that because nobody's really leaving their jobs right before the holidays, right before the end of the year, right before tax time, bonus time. So hiring is really slow. Well, now's the time that you really need us because you're not having any inputs into your system, being people.
Right.
So let's look at your process and scrub that up so that when we're ready to put inputs into that, our outputs are better. So now is really the time to start looking at process improvements, which by that I mean, you know, a solid interview process that links core competencies to what we're really looking for. Are you doing phone screens? A lot of clients aren't because they just don't know how, you know,
Right.
so really making improvements to that process is the majority of the work that we're doing.
Okay. And so we are talking today with Katie McConnell Olson with Higher Education Consulting Group. Hires H-I-R-E. HigherEducationConsultingGroup.com is their website if you want to get some more information. If you want to contact Katie, you can call her at 916-708-2010.
Love talking about this stuff. We talk about it all day long and not even scratch the surface of all the complaining and problems I'm hearing, you know, about hiring, which is of course such a challenge right now.
Of course. Yes.
Which is great.
Yeah. Well, good.
It means the market's good.
Thank you for being on the show. It's great to have you back.
Thank you so much.
I'm looking forward to your continued success and learn more about you. Looking forward to seeing
Happy Thanksgiving,
next
everybody.
Week. That's right, everyone. Hope you have a great Thanksgiving. We'll talk to you next week.